In the heart of the 19th century, as Spain's empire began to tremble under the weight of rebellion, one man in the Philippines emerged as a voice too powerful to silence. He carried no sword, commanded no army, and yet his words struck fear deeper into the Spanish crown than any blade could. His name was José Rizal. Born in 1861, Rizal was no ordinary child. Brilliant, curious, and relentless, he mastered languages, studied medicine, and traveled across Europe. But what set him apart was his pen. With novels like Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, Rizal exposed the corruption of friars, the cruelty of colonial rule, and the suffocating chains binding his people. Every page he wrote was a spark, and those sparks spread like wildfire across the islands. The Spaniards called him dangerous. The friars branded him a heretic. But for Filipinos, Rizal's words were hope, the promise that freedom was not just a dream but a destiny waiting to be claimed. By the late 1880s, whispers of revolt echoed across the Philippines. Farmers, peasants, and workers began to question the friars' power. Secret groups formed, emboldened by Rizal's writings. Spain knew this man had to be stopped. And so, the net tightened. When rebellion finally erupted in 1896, though Rizal was not even part of it, Spain seized the opportunity. He was arrested, accused of sedition, and thrown into the dark dungeons of Fort Santiago in Manila. Here, behind stone walls and iron bars, the fate of José Rizal would be decided. He had challenged an empire with truth, and now he would pay the price. But little did Spain know, his death would awaken a nation. Behind the thick stone walls of Fort Santiago, José Rizal awaited his fate. Accused of sedition, rebellion, and conspiracy, charges he firmly denied, he became the Spaniards' perfect scapegoat. The empire needed blood to warn others, and Rizal's blood would be the example. But even in chains, Rizal remained unbroken. In the stillness of his cell, he wrote. He penned letters, poems, and reflections, each word a weapon sharper than any blade. On the eve of his execution, he composed Mi Ultimo Adios, My Last Farewell, a masterpiece hidden inside a tiny lamp. It was a farewell not of defeat, but of eternal love for his country, a call to future generations to rise. As dawn broke on December 30th, 1896, Rizal was led from Fort Santiago through the streets of Manila. Thousands gathered, some in silence, some weeping, all watching the man whose words had awakened their courage. Spanish soldiers surrounded him, bayonets gleaming, as if guarding not a man, but an idea too dangerous to escape. At Bagumbayan Field, today known as Luneta Park, the stage was set. A firing squad of Filipino soldiers, forced to serve under Spanish command, awaited him. Their rifles shook, for in their hearts they knew the man they were ordered to kill was not a traitor, but a hero. Rizal stood tall, refusing blindfolds, refusing kneel. He demanded to face death as a free man. In those final moments, silence swept the crowd. The command was given. Shots rang out. Rizal's body twisted as he fell, turning to face the sky, as if in defiance even in death. The empire believed it had silenced him. But it was too late. Rizal's death did not extinguish the flame, it became the torch that lit a revolution. Across the Philippines, cries for freedom erupted louder than ever. The Katipunan grew bolder. Farmers, peasants, and workers marched, not just with weapons, but with Rizal's memory guiding them. Spain had executed a man. But in doing so, they had created a martyr. José Rizal's spirit rose, uniting Filipinos in a way no weapon ever could. His pen, his words, his sacrifice, these became the foundation of a nation's fight for independence. And so, on that blood-stained field in Bagumbayan, the Philippines was reborn. Not in silence, but in the echo of gunfire, in the tears of its people, and in the immortal words of the man who dared to awaken them. The execution of José Rizal was not the end. It was the beginning of the Filipino nation's march toward freedom.